A wintry Friday night. A packed gymnasium in a tight-knit community. A shot taken. History made. A state of delirium? No. The state of Indiana. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport, pure Indiana. This message brought to you by the Indiana High School Athletic Association and the high schools in your community.
From all across the state,
Rushville,
South Bend, Washington,
Lakeland High School,
Culver Academies, North Vermilion,
we represent 160,000 student athletes.
We are the voices
of 410 member school athletes.
The IHSAA Student Advisory Committee is made up of 18 student athletes who organize the Student Leadership Conference and participate in state championship events as award presenters in many different roles.
We represent you.
We are the IHSAA Student Advisory Committee.
Pure spirit,
pure sport,
pure Indiana.
The athletic department wished to thank the following sponsors for their generous support of Union City Athletics. 3M Excavating, Botkin Trophies and Laser Engraving, the City of Union City, join the movement. Best Way Disposal, Cardinal Ethanol, Citizen State Bank, Double Z Home Improvement, Eco Vehicle Systems, Equus Consulting Group, Frank Miller Lumber Company, Hydrojet Signs Fabricating and Glass Components, Midwest Bankers Home Loan Expert, Derek Huntwork, Tree Hill Farms, real food made simple, Wiley Well Drilling, Woodcrest Lanes, the Smoke and Pin Barbecue, Didier Do-It-Best Home and Hardware, Kearns Brothers, the Union City Lions Club, Packasack, RL Painting and Manufacturing, Shuckney Electric Heating and Cooling. Now we take you to Union City Gymnasium courtside for tonight's broadcast.
Welcome to Union City Junior Senior High School for tonight's varsity matchup between the Wapahani Raiders and your Lady Indians. Union City, with the permission of our local health department, has established COVID protocols to allow spectators to attend our home events. To comply with guidelines, we ask you wear a mask for the duration of the contest, social distance with immediate family only, and sit in the designated areas. Your efforts are helping us offer a safe environment for all in attendance. I would now like to bring your attention to Katie Elliott, a junior here at Union City. She has a message for our fans and players.
Welcome to Union City Junior Senior High School. In the spirit of sportsmanship, we ask that all fans act responsibly and courteously to those around you. Abusive language or disorderly conduct is unacceptable and not welcome at IHSA events. Please show your student athletes, coaches, and officials the respect they deserve. Your cooperation is appreciated. Please enjoy the game.
Now, if you would please rise and remove your hats for the playing of our national anthem. First, let's meet the visiting Raiders. First, number 4, Maddie Jefferson. Number 5, Zoe Swallow. Number 11, Emily Thompson. Number 22, Lauren Luce. Number 23, Malia York. Number 30, Destiny Felder. And number 32, Trinity Brozier. Starting for the Raiders tonight, at forward, a 5'8" junior, number 12, Layla Lee. Another forward, a 5'10" sophomore, number 25, Cameron Wise. At center, a 5'9" senior, number 33, Jalen Willis. At one guard, a 5'3" sophomore, number 3, Kendall Thrasher. And at guard, a 5'4" sophomore, number 2, Reese Baker. The Raiders are coached by Scott Hudson. And now for your Lady Indians. First, freshman, number 32, Cameron Fisher. Your sophomores, number 10, Peyton Dye. Number 11, Emily Evans. Number 22, Heather Lawrence. Number 40, Madison McHenry. And number 42, Grace Shoemaker. Juniors, number 20, Katie Elliott. And number 34, Andrea Sanders. Starting for the Indians tonight, at one guard, a 5'4" junior, number 3, Carly Rissmiller. At forward, a 5'8" junior, number 4, Mariah Claywell. In the middle, a 6'2" junior, number 30, Emily Livingston. At one guard, a 5'6" junior, number 14, Skyly Lutz. And at guard, a 5'7" senior, number 2, Jody Carpenter. The Indians are coached by Sarah Black, assisted by Neil Adams. Officials for tonight's contest is Nathan Meschberger, Keith Mullenkamp, and Stephen Betts. Athletic Director Mike Thornburg, Principal Neil Adams, and our coaches stand and support our officials. These individuals have committed their time to our student athletes, and we appreciate their efforts and sacrifices. Fans, if you feel the need to verbally express your displeasure with our officials, please note your actions will be an absolute contradiction to the values and beliefs of Union City High School. Please join with me in applause for our game officials and their commitment to education-based athletics.
And we want to welcome everybody to Union City Gymnasium. It's a Saturday night in mid-January, and we're getting ready to tip off here between the Wapahani Lady Raiders from Selma, Indiana, and your Union City Lady Indians. I'd like to note that Jody Carpenter has to average 6 more assists in the next 4 games, has to get 6 assists in the next 4 games, and she'll break Justice Cantu's record of 133 on the season. So looking forward to seeing if Carpenter can do that in the next 4 games for the Lady Indians as we're just underway. Layla Lee with the ball, guarded by Carpenter. Baker's going to take one from 3, and she's going to sink it. So just like the first game, Wapahani starts with a 3, and here comes Carpenter, baseline. She's going to take it all the way. She's fouled. And Jody's going to go to the line shooting 2 shots. They're going to give that on number 2, Reese Baker. That'll be her first foul, and right away, Carpenter, the senior, will be at the line. She sinks her first one. Carpenter, of course, as we mentioned, is leading the Tri-Eastern Conference in assists as she didn't sink her second one. At 5.8 assists a game. Last week she was at 6 assists a game, but that's still top honors in the Tri-Eastern Conference is Carpenter. As Wapahani drives inside, number 25, great bucket by Cameron Wise. And Wise, one of the stores as well. She's averaging double figures for the Raiders at 11.2. on the season. Claywell looks inside to feed into Livingston. A great defensive presence by the aforementioned Wise, and here we go the other way. Obviously, varsity's going to be a little bit higher paced here as number 3 takes a shot from the perimeter. No good. Kendall Thrasher misses it. Claywell with a rebound. We'll talk about that. And here comes Lutz. Lutz right around the corner, and she gets her first bucket to Skyly Luntz, a sensational junior of that triple threat we'll talk about between her, Livingston, and Claywell. Those 3 juniors all averaging double figures and all amongst the conference leaders. As Carpenter gets her hand on it, and we mentioned the conference. Like I say, they come into this game with a record of 11-8 and 2-2 in the Tri-Eastern Conference, which is an interesting stat because Union City is atop the TC in scoring averaging 61.5. But the one asterisk I would have to notably mention is, of course, Winchester Falcons are in the Tri-Eastern Conference as Wise works the ball around. And Coach Gutierrez for the Falcons is real stingy about giving stats to max preps, so she keeps them close to the vest, and I'm sure that might be a strategic reason for other teams, as well as you don't want to see stats every week amongst the leaders where you got players start looking at them to see where they're at in these stats, and that might cause a little bit of a focus or distraction issue. So nothing to take away from Coach G, but we cannot include Winchester stats, and certainly they got a great team that would be amongst some of the conference leaders as well. As Wapahani sinks the second one, and they find themselves up 7-3, and Skyly Lutz brings the ball past the timeline for Coach Black over to Rissmiller. Rissmiller over to Claywell. Here's Carpenter now inside to Livingston. Livingston, one bounce, turns around, jumps, no good. And Livingston needs to get a little bit touch on her shot there. She misses her first bucket. And Wapahani's going to step back for another deep 3 from the right side. No good. Carpenter with the rebound. Here we come back the other way. Looking up top to Claywell. Claywell still she secures it, but gets fouled on the spin move. And it looks like number 2, Reese Baker, is going to pick up a second foul. And that is indeed the case. The sophomore picks up her second at the 5:30 mark. And immediately, Coach Hudson goes to the bench on the next whistle. Rissmiller. Back to Lutz. Lutz is going to take a 3. No good. Rissmiller comes up with it. Back to Rissmiller. Inside to Claywell. Claywell, nice bounce pass into Livingston. Livingston tries to spin, no good, but good defense by Wapahani as the Indians work the ball around. Once again, Livingston from Claywell. There's the bucket right there as Emily Livingston sinks her first field goal. Make it a 2-point deficit. Great assist by Mariah Claywell. And Claywell getting her hands on just about everything too. Claywell, as we mentioned last week, probably an MVP candidate for this team, as she's doing it all from all ends of the court. As Wapahani sinks another deep 3. Looks Baker picks up a 3 after her second foul, so she's able to get 3 before she's going to be coming out here for Coach Hudson, I'm sure, as Rissmiller hits one from the left side. And we're going to go back the other way. 10-7 your scores. We're just underway here in the first. 4:33 left to go. Here's Wise. Kicked out to number 2, Baker. She's going to take another one from the right side. No good. Carpenter with the rebound. It's 2-on-2 as Carpenter goes mid, looking at left. She's going to take it all herself with the left hand. No good. But Claywell right there to get the garbage shot, and she puts it up and in. It makes it a 1-point game. It's a great bucket by the junior Claywell as she asserts herself early here in this first quarter. We've mentioned throughout the season how quick some of these Indians can be, but they're just a little lackadaisical on their passing around. But on the nice bucket by number 12 there, Layla Lee. Lee herself averaging 7.7 a game. And inside to Livingston, she goes up again with a bucket. So 2 quick ones from the tall senior. And Hudson goes to his bench, and number 22, Lauren Luce, is going to check back in at the next, or check in for the first time at the next whistle as Wise goes bound around Claywell. Here's another deep one by Baker. She tries again, no good. Livingston takes away the rebound from Lutz. And Lutz looks up top. Here's Rissmiller now. Lutz, of course, averaging 16.6 a game. That's going to be absent next year. She will be graduating as a junior. We've mentioned that every game this season. But the depth that Coach Black has on her team next year, as well as what's coming up with she's got 3 great freshmen coming up as well. It's probably going to get a lot of varsity time. They'll be freshmen next year as Livingston turns around spin move. That's 2 for Livingston. So 3 quick buckets by the junior, and they find themselves up by 1 for the first time. 3 minutes left to go in the first. So Union City has the talent to overcome some pretty big deficits, but they've never really seen themselves in trouble yet. But Wapahani's a pretty good team so far. We've seen they're hitting around from the perimeter as we get another 3 from the top of the key by Layla Lee, and it's no good. It's going to go the other way as we're going to get a whistle. And they're going to call that on number 33, so that's going to be on Jalen Willis. The 5'9" senior picks up her first foul. And Lutz will bring the ball past the timeline. Wise picks her up right away. Carpenter now. Oh, nice almost steal by Wapahani. Here's Carpenter again. Back out to Lutz. Lutz is going to take one from three. And, oh, it goes in. So Skylar Lutz hits her first three-point bucket of the game. And that's what you like to see, as Lutz does lead the team in all scoring. Good ball move. Wise going to take one from three in the left-hand side, and she nails it. So 16-15, as the Union City still held on to a one-point lead. Lutz into Claywell's. Claywell's driving outside. She stops. Pops it no good. Catherine Elliott had checked in the ball game for Livingston. Forgot to mention that. As Wise dribbles right around her and right around Rissmiller. An easy bucket. Boy, that's got to frustrate Coach Black, as that was too easy of a bucket as they go down the defense as quickly Sanders is off the bench. Nice bounce pass in from Carpenter into Claywell. So there's your assist by Carpenter, and she's going to look for those. One thing we've talked about, Carpenter's passes are so crisp and fresh. Sometimes many of the Indians just don't see them coming, and they're so good that they bobble it or whatever, and they miss the bucket. So that's going to be one thing the senior's going to have to battle, is just some of her passes are just that good. They're too hot for the Indians to handle. And back the other way. 18-17 as Thrasher to Wise. Malia York is checked in for Coach Hudson as well. She's on the floor. We're going to take another one from three by Thrasher on the right side. No good. Claywell and Elliott look at each other, but Claywell ends up with it for the rebound. Here comes Lutz. She looks up. She's got Sanders on the left. Sanders open for a three. She takes it. No good. Had the good look. Claywell with a beautiful rebound. She puts it up and in. No block out by the Raiders on Claywell, and they got to know that. 20-17 as we're under a minute now in this first quarter. 1-3-1 zone by Coach Black as Rissmiller takes a step out towards Wise. Back to Wise now. There's going to be a three from the left side by York. She sinks it. So Malia York's first three, and it ties it up at 20 as we're at 35 seconds. Elliott's asking for the ball down low. Posting up number 23, York. Good defense by York, staying in front of her as Lutz dribbles the ball out, and it looks like they're going to want to get the last shot as Claywell has the ball. Nice bounce pass into Elliott, right between her legs. Last touch by Katie. So beautiful pass by Claywell. Katie just didn't have the presence of mind to get a hold of it. As Carpenter checks back in, Claywell will get a breather this last 18.8 of the first quarter. Sanders will take the middle, flanked by Lutz and Elliott on the defensive end. Wise. Thrasher back to Wise. Wise dribbles in. He's going to take another one from York. She's going to bounce off, no good. Here comes Carpenter. 1-on-3, she holds it up, and she's going to take a shot. It almost goes in, hits the front of the rim, and at the end of one, we're knotted at 20 points each. So it's been a really good game going back and forth. Livingston will check back in when the second quarter starts. She'll be in for Katie Elliott. So it's been a good game so far. I think it's all Mariah Claywell for the Indians on that game, because she was on both ends on the defensive board side, and she was picking up the errant shots and the missed shots by Union City and coming in there and getting some easy follow-up shots. So that's what the Indians continue to need to do. Really good competitive team between these two. As we mentioned, Union City sits at third in the conference and rebounding at 34.1, behind Northeastern at 34.3 a game, and Hagerstown 36.9. But as we mentioned just a minute ago, Winchester is not listed in anything in that Tri-Eastern Conference category on Max Preps, the sports site, which a lot of high school media people and coaches, everything, get information on players and stuff like that, and they submit information. And we mentioned Coach G from Winchester certainly has a great talented team this year, outstanding team. And they're pretty close to net as far as supplying statistics of their games into Max Prep. So these stats that we talk about the conference leaders we have all year, it has to come with an asterisk until we get those Winchester stats, and if we do indeed receive those. So we're back into second quarter action as the Union City will bring the ball up. We talked about this triple threat of Union City. You have Livingston at 13.2 a game, Lutz at 16.9 as the steals by Wise. Here we go back the other way. Carpenter's Gardner, and Carpenter reaches in. Oh, she gets it in, the bucket's good. And Carpenter's going to pick up a foul and send Cameron Wise to the line shooting one. So a mental error on the senior there. If you're going to foul her, make sure she doesn't get the shot off. And Coach Black's probably telling Carp just that, as Wise is going to go to the line to complete a three-point play. As we mentioned, Lutz with 16.9 for the Indians, and Wise sinks that. And Claywell at 15.9. So three sensational, the triple threat, we call them, all juniors, all averaging double figures, and all of the conference leaders in the Tri-Eastern Conference for Union City. Nice hop, skip, layup there by Lutz. Nothing really the Raiders can do about that except step in front of it, maybe get a foul. So another easy bucket by Lutz, the junior, but they still find themselves down by one as they're going to take another one from three, and the Raiders missed that one. Layla Lee took one, and Carpenter ends up with the ball. Here come the Lady Indians. Outlet pass to Sanders, just on the outreach of her. A little too much from Carpenter. I think it was achievable. Sanders just needed to chase that down. Carp threw it a little too high, but I think it was catchable. As Claywell checked back in for the Lady Indians and Coach Black. There's another deep three from the left side, no good. Lauren Luce misses the mark. Here's Lutz now for Lady Indians. She sees a lane on the left side. She takes all the way in with the right hand, no good. And she gets pushed. We got a Lady Raider foul here. Let's see, is that going to be on number 22? Let's see what they got. Nope, number 12. They're going to call out on Layla Lee, the junior. That'll be her second foul of the contest, sending Lutz to the line, shooting two. That'll be the fifth team foul on the Lady Raiders as well. 2, Union City's 1. As Skylie sinks her first bucket. Number 23, Malia York, comes back in, replacing number 12, Layla Lee, for Coach Hudson. And Lutz looks to give the Indians a 1-point lead if she sinks this one. No good, but she gets her own rebound, but stolen away by number 2, Reese Baker. Here we go back the other way, Wapahani. And we're going to take a shot free. York's going to have one open, and she's going to hit it. Indians had nobody on her to contest that shot. And Wapahani finds themselves up by 3 with 6:35 left to go in the second quarter as Claywell's going to take a jumper. No good. Livingston right in for the rebound. She puts up no good. Sanders with a strong rebound. She puts it up and it goes in. So Andrea Sanders, that's the first bucket for that junior. As we mentioned, that class has got a lot of talent on this team. Juniors Elliott and Sanders coming in off the bench with Livingston, Claywell, and Lutz. Of course, Riss Miller, a junior as well, the defensive specialist. As Wise hits the ball here, we're working around. Here's number 3, Kendall Thrasher. It's no good. Claywell grabs another board. Look up, has Carpenter down low. She gets it into her. Carpenter goes up and in. Great pass by Claywell for Carpenter for 2 points, and Coach Hudson says, give me a timeout. Just like that, the Union City finds themselves up by 1 when they were down by 3 just a second ago. So this is good back and forth by these two talented teams. Going through there, we talked about when I look at the Max Preps East Tri-Eastern Conference assist stat leaders, always look to see where the girls are every week. And, of course, we mentioned Carpenter atop the Tri-Eastern Conference, right behind Taylor Ferris and Maddie Burchett, 2nd and 3. Claywell at number 4 with assist counting leaders. And Skylie Lutz, 7. So we have 1st, 4th, and 7th in the Tri-Eastern Conference. Again, we have to say that with kind of a grin because we have no stats from Winchester. And, of course, Coach G's got that talented team that she had. Blew out the Indians by as many as 30 for the Randolph County Championship. So they were ready to play as Claywell gets us another theft, and she goes to the bucket, and she's going to be fouled by number 3, Kendall Thrasher. And let's see if they're going to call that a shooting foul, as looks like they're going to because Mariah goes to the free throw line. Lutz at 2.9 assists, and Claywell at 4.1 assists a game. We mentioned as Mariah eyes her first one. And no good. And the rebounding leaders, Emily Livingston, Claywell, are 2nd and 3rd in the Tri-State Conference course behind that sensational sophomore from Tri. And we saw her playing a couple games ago, Bailey Parham, She's at 10.5 rebounds a game, 9.9 for Livingston and 9.5 for Claywell. As Claywell looks to eye her second shot. And she sinks it. So 28-26, Union City with a 2-point lead. Skylar Lutz down at 16 on amongst the rebound leaders, 5.4 a game. So all the Indians seem to be in the top 20. And great bank shot by number 2. Reese Baker nails it for the Raiders, tying it up to 28. Elliott, who's checked back in, gives it to Lutz. Lutz with another jump stop, and I think they're going to get her for a travel. Yep. She took a little bunny hop going to the bucket, and they got a whistle for it. As Thrasher brings the ball up. And Wapahani sets up their offense. Wise over now to York. Oh, York passed it over. I guess Indians got a hand on it. Last touch by the Lady Indians, and it'll still remain Wapahani ball. As number 23, Malia. We'll get it right. York brings in the ball. Here's Wise now. Back to Thrasher. Here's Baker's going to take a three. What a block by Claywell, and she's going the other way now. Nice pass to Carpenter, and it's up and in. What a great transition there by the Lady Indians. Started with a block by Claywell. Baker tried to make a shot, and Claywell was just there and slapped it out of her hand, stole the ball, and went down and gave a great bounce pass to Carpenter for a bucket. 30-28, your Lady Indians are up by 2 with 4:42 left to go in this first half. Thrasher back to Wise. See what Wapahani's got in order here. Hudson's shouting out some plays. York now. Right inside, right into Carpenter's hand. Here comes Claywell and Carpenter. Expect a great bounce pass. No look by Carpenter. Oh, too much for Mariah to handle. And this last touch by the Wapahani team. Going back the other way. And here we go. The nice baseline shot, no good. Lutz ends up with it. Carpenter now. Nice pass over to Claywell. Claywell's going to take a shot, and she sinks it. Assist Carpenter. As we talked about, she got to get 6 assists a game. Looks like she's on 5 now. As Sanders and Rissmiller get ready to check back in for Coach Black. So just Carpenter doing her duty there, getting as many assists as she has. So she's still closing in on Cantu's single season mark of 133 as Carpenter. She got plenty of time to do it in the rest of the season. As here's one from York from 3, no good. Elliott had a position, but it ends up in Livingston's hand as she spins around, tries to get free, and gives it to Lutz now. And Skylo will bring up the ball. Carpenter. Cross over to Claywell. Claywell takes a dribble, fights inside. Elliott ends up with it. She takes a shot, no good. Claywell comes up with the board again, dribbles it back out, looking for somebody, and it ends up into number 3's hand, Kendall Thrasher. I think Claywell was looking for Lutz and just couldn't quite see her as we get a missed shot down on the other end by Baker, and we're back the other way. These Lady Indians like to run. But it looks like the Wapahani Raiders are up for the challenge as they got some athletes themselves as they're fighting for the ball. And Coach Black wisely calls a timeout so it doesn't get a turnover.
30-second timeout.
As Carpenter will come to the bench, being replaced by Riss Miller. Sanders will check in, replacing Katie Elliott. So 32-28 your score. The Indians have a 4-point lead. It's been a good back and forth between these two teams, and we talked about Carpenter's had a couple crisp passes, just wasn't too much for the Indians to handle, but she's still getting her. I think she's sitting on 5 assists now. And Claywell, they have a great tandem between her and Carpenter a couple times down the court on some great defensive plays by Claywell. Carpenter bounce pass in from Claywell, 2 easy layups there, and that's where you're looking at a 4-point lead here, 32-28 in this second quarter. Well, of course, as we always say, we want to thank Cardinal Ethanol and everybody at Randolph County United for the great support that they've given the KISS program to bring you these high-definition broadcasts. And everything else we do here at KISS as we're back underway. And, of course, you saw at the beginning, we have all of our great sponsors for the athletics on board. As Sanders is going to take one from the left side, and she sinks it. It's a 3 for Andrea Sanders. That's her second bucket. And that'll be, Deli, if you got to be Coach Hudson, you got to worry about Sanders coming off the bench, start hitting around the perimeter. You'd think normally she's an inside game, but Andrea has no problem popping one from the outside and hitting it. As we saw earlier in warm-ups, saw Emily Livingston out there hit a couple of threes in warm-ups. There's going to be one from three on the left-hand side. Number 12, no good. A little volleyball play there, and Sanders ends up with it. She rips it away out of the Wapahani player's hands, and here comes Lutz back the other way to Rissmiller. Rissmiller cross court to Sanders. Sanders one dribble. She's going to take another bucket. A little too hard on the rim. Bounces out. Wise comes up with it back the other way. Here she comes. She's going to take it all the way in. Skyly just stands there and goes right around Skyly Lutz. Not a whole lot you can do if you're Lutz. She put a hand out, but wisely didn't foul her. As 35-30 now. The Indians build a lead, and they just kind of fall back a little bit and let the other team get back into it. That's something that the Indians have had a habit of doing from time to time in this game this season. As Sanders fumbles a pass from Claywell, and Carpenter will check back in. She's going to come in for Skyly Lutz. Skyly will come back to the bench for Coach Black and get a breather. Cameron Wise will bring the ball up for Coach Hudson. And Baker's going to take another three. Check that Thrasher, and she hits it. So Kendall Thrasher hits a three from the perimeter, making it a 2-point ball game. Here's Rissmiller now, back to Carpenter. They're looking for Livingston. She's trying to post, and Wise is dropping back on her. Looks like, oh, great bucket by Rissmiller. That's a three. You don't expect offensive scoring from Rissmiller, but that's her 5th point of the evening. As I'm seeing there, number 34 is Jalen Willis, as well as Wise. They're collapsing down in on Livingston, double teaming her. So let's see how the Indians are going to deal with that on the offensive side of the court. As Thrasher dribbles it around to Wise. They're looking inside. Nobody really cutting down the lane or anything. You have Willis on the left block. Now she comes across. And there it looks like we're going to play. Here's Wise from the top of the key, no good. Livingston comes up with it. And here comes Claywell, outlet pass, past the timeline. Bounce pass to Rissmiller. Rissmiller's going to take another three from the left side. Almost good. No good, though, but it bounced out. And we're going back the other way. So Carly Rissmiller's getting a good, decent look there, so can't blame her for taking that shot. And they're going to call Andrea Sanders, number 34, whistled for her first foul. So a 5-point lead by the Indians with 28.6 left to go in this second quarter. And it looks like the Indians may go into the locker room holding the lead there, as Lutz gets ready to come back in for Coach Black at the next whistle. Here's a 3-point from Thrasher, and she nails it. Again, that's the second one from Thrasher on that side. And she pulls them to within 2. Rissmiller now, cross over to Sanders. Sanders taking the dribble. She's going to put it up, and it's blocked by number 33, Willis. Back the other way, here comes Wise with 3 seconds. She's going to put it up in time, and they get it off, and it goes in. And right there at the locker room, everybody's going to go in there, knotted at 38, as Wapahani hits a shot right at the buzzer. Does number 2, Reese Baker, and it was a 5-point lead. And we're going to have a 10-minute halftime break, and then we're going to come back with the rest of the game here. And KISS TV, you're watching the Wapahani Lady Raiders and the the Union City Lady Indians on KISS TV. We'll be back.
Sponsors: Tree Hill Farms, Hydrojet Signs, Fabricating and Glass Components, Citizen State Bank, Eco Vehicle Systems, Midwest Bankers Mortgage Services, Cardinal Ethanol, Equus Consulting Group, Frank Miller Lumber, Best Way of Indiana, and Wiley Well Drilling. If you or your organization would like to participate in supporting over 200 student athletes, please contact Mr. Thornburg or inquire in the high school office.
Someday. But no matter what he ends up choosing, playing sports in high school will help pave the way to a happier, healthier life. All Tommy needs to do is make up his mind. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport. Pure launching pad for life.
For just 2% of a typical school's budget, high school sports give us plenty of energy and excitement. For just 2%, they also give us young people whose leadership and commitment to excellence will pay big dividends in our community for years to come. 2%. That's one investment we can all feel good about. High school sports. Pure spirit, pure sport, pure launching pad for life.
It's time for the Commissioner's Corner, an exclusive weekly conversation about Indiana high school sports with the Commissioner of the IHSAA, Paul Neidig. Now for an up-to-the-minute report about what's happening in the constantly changing world of high school sports, here's Coach Bob Lovell with Commissioner Paul Neidig.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Bob Lovell with the Commissioner of the IHSAA, Paul Neidig. This is our weekly conversation about all things IHSAA related. Commissioner, blockbuster news announcement yesterday. The boys state tournament date will change due to the IHSAA's relationship with the Indiana Sports Corporation and Indiana and all of us who are involved in the NCAA tournament. I know these have been discussions that have been ongoing, but we have clarity and we kind of have an idea of what's going to happen in the month of March.
We do, and, it's Indiana, and March is about basketball, and, certainly the announcement with the NCAA coming here for their entire tournament a couple weeks ago was an important announcement, but, we're going to play a little high school basketball during that same time, and glad to do it. We're also going to be able to celebrate our state championship in our home venue for the state finals, and that's Bankers Life Fieldhouse. We're certainly happy to be able to do that.
I think what gets lost in all of this is that you and I and a whole lot of other people are in the event business. We've been in the event business for long times, large portions of our careers. We know what it takes to put on events. We know what to do about championships. We understand that there are a lot of moving parts, and there are obviously a lot of moving parts for the on a yearly basis for your boys and girls basketball championships and football and wrestling and all the others. But this just adds another layer. A few things we're out of our comfort zone as we get ready to face the NCAA tournament.
It does. And, it's I would look at this as like anything else with COVID and what this year's been about. It's been about compromise and adjustments, and that's where we're at here again. The boys tournament, there's a lot that goes into that, just as there is the girls or swimming or wrestling or gymnastics, whatever we have going on this winter. And certainly disruptions are not taken lightly and not something we want to do, because people plan their lives around high school basketball and high school athletics, and we're happy that they do that. And anytime we have to make a change of this magnitude, we know that it affects people. It affects people, and we certainly do not like to do that. But sometimes we just have to do what's, best, and as we see it and our board sees it, and that's why we find ourselves with the boys state tournament a week later this year.
The specifics of the deal are, as you say, is the boys tournament will be a week later than normally scheduled, and it has no impact on the girls, correct?
That is correct. It has no impact on the girls' tournament. It'll go off on the originally published dates. And matter of fact, we're there. We got a draw this weekend.
Yeah,
Sunday.
We do. I'm expecting a police escort probably from 465 on the south side of Indy all the way up to Meridian Street. Is that asking too much on a Sunday?
Bob, to get you in our studio and present those blankets.
Okay.
We're going to do what we need to do.
Well, you know what? You know that I and Greg Rakestraw, number one, we're honored to be asked. And secondly, it's just so much fun. It's so much fun to be with you and your staff. And we all know what's at stake, and we know how important a night like Sunday night is to find out who's going to be playing whom.
Yeah, and it's just evident over the years we've watched those. The team is a bonding activity. It's a time to refocus the season on the tournament. It's, as they say, they're moving to the end of the season. Where I come from, we call that putting the hay in the barn. So hay's in the barn, and it's really time to look and see, are we better? Are we ready to go? And we're going to have some teams make some run in this tournament that didn't expect to early on, and we're going to have upsets like we have, but that's what's exciting about Indiana basketball.
Thanks for listening to The Commissioner's Corner with IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig and Coach Bob Lovell. And thank you for your continued support of the high schools in your community.
Sportsmanship doesn't happen just on the court or on the field or on the mat. It doesn't happen only in the pool or on the green or the track. It also happens in the stands, on the sidelines, on the web, and at home. That's because sportsmanship is everyone's responsibility. We remind you to practice good sportsmanship at all high school sporting events. Treat athletes and officials with respect during competition and especially in social media. And support your team's coaching staff. Remember, sportsmanship has a face. Yours. A message from your high school and the Indiana High School Athletic Association.
The athletic department wished to thank the following sponsors for their generous support of Union City Athletics. 3M Excavating, Botkin Trophies and Laser Engraving, the City of Union City, join the movement. Best Way Disposal, Cardinal Ethanol, Citizen State Bank, Double Z Home Improvement, Eco Vehicle Systems, Equus Consulting Group, Frank Miller Lumber Company, Hydrojet Signs Fabricating and Glass Components, Midwest Bankers Home Loan Expert, Derek Huntwork, Tree Hill Farms, real food made simple, Wiley Well Drilling, Woodcrest Lanes, the Smoke and Pin Barbecue, Didier Do-It-Best Home and Hardware, Kearns Brothers, the Union City Lions Club, Packasack, RL Painting and Manufacturing, Shuckney Electric Heating and Cooling. Now we take you to Union City Gymnasium courtside for tonight's broadcast.
This is Gymnasium. This is Brian Merrill. I want to shout out to our team, Maddie Abel, Christian Cardona, Gloria Cardona, and Camille Helmick running our cameras on our live stream tonight. Of course, all that help with the help of Phil Williams down in Lynn, Indiana remotely. We'll be glad Phil will be joining us next week, as we've had some crew that have been contact traced and quarantined, so we had some new kids learning some stuff this week. But that's okay. Hopefully you're still enjoying these wonderful high-definition shots. As Wapahani opens up with a turnover going back the other way, and we're knotted at 38. It's been a great first half, ladies and gentlemen, that we had going in the locker room, going back and forth. Claywell, oh, nice presence of Claywell not to get a turnover there with a travel, and gets it to Livingston in time. Livingston just can't get it to fall. Told Emily we need to get a game face on her. We just told her she's too nice down low. And nice bucket by number 3, Kendall Thrasher. She opens up the second half for the Raiders with a 3. 41-38. Carpenter looks feet inside to Livingston. Over to Rissmiller. Rissmiller's going to take one step and take a bucket. She's going to nail it. So Carly Rissmiller with her third field goal. 1 3 and 2 regulars from the field. Of course, we've got Baker, Thrasher, Lee, Wise, and Willis on the floor, who started the first half. for Coach Hudson. And Wise drives in on Rissmiller. Nice steal by Carpenter now. One-on-one as Carpenter goes in for the left hand. Wisely, Kendall Thrasher backs off. Didn't want to commit that foul as Carpenter, the senior, picks up a 2-point bucket there and puts the Indians back on top by 1. Just want to mention that the sectional pairings come out tomorrow, so we'll find out who it is that the Lady Indians are going to be playing. And I guess the sectional opening round will be at Tri-High near Newcastle, Indiana. When that sectional starts, the boys sectional will be at Southern in Lynn, Indiana. Is Wise going to take one from the perimeter? No good. Livingston with the rebound. Carpenter want to get it out there. Here's over to Rissmiller. Rissmiller too much for her to handle, but saves it into Lutz's hands now. Lutz wisely pass into Claywell, but Claywell loses a handle on it, and Wise ends up with the ball. Outlet pass to number 2. Here comes Reese Baker. And Baker stops, but blocked by Lutz coming from behind. And Wapahani still holds it as Wise looks to pass it inside to number 12, and there's thought Mariah had a block on that, but Layla Lee hits a 2-point bucket for the Raiders, and we're back the other way. So 1-point lead by the Raiders. Nice dish inside from Claywell to Livingston. Beautiful pass by the junior. 44 to 43. Exciting game right here underway in the third quarter, just back and forth, trading buckets. Baker. And looks like we're going to get a whistle for the foul as Baker will go to the line shooting 2, and they're going to call that on number 3. Carly Rissmiller is going to pick up her first foul. And Reese Baker, the sophomore, will go to the line shooting 2. First one's off the mark, no good. And her second shot does go in. So 44 apiece as Lutz brings it past the timeline. Here's Rissmiller. Lutz does most of the ball handling at the top of the perimeter for the Lady Indians. As Coach Black tells a offensive play. Rissmiller now over to Carpenter. Carpenter's going to take a 3 from the right side. She sinks it. So 3-point bucket from downtown by Jody Carpenter, or JoJo Smooth as we call her. It's Thrasher past the timeline, picked up by Lutz. Good screen. Nice dribble inside by Baker, but blocked by Livingston. But just right there to pick it up is Jalen Willis as she scores another field goal from inside. 47-46, Union City up by 1. As Carpenter has a hard time from the pass. Wise took it away. Looking up to Baker. Baker's going to go in. Lutz flies right by her. And a bucket. And we got a timeout on the court now, 48-47. Carpenter favoring that right elbow. Didn't see anything that happened, but she stand up, coming to the bench and rubbing it. She's still taking a look at it. I don't know if that's going to stop the senior, because I know she wants to be in this game and she wants to do the best she can to help her team win, as well as it's got to be on the mind of that young lady that Justice Cantu's season assist record is within reach. We've praised Carpenter, the senior, all season about being the best passer in the county and in the conference, and she certainly proved it. Mariah Claywell bring the ball out for the Indians as the Raiders take the court after the timeout from Coach Hudson. So you have a Baker, Thrasher, Lee, Wise, and Willis, your 5 starters. Lutz, Claywell, Rissmiller, Livingston, and Carpenter, also the 5 starters that began the game in for the Lady Indians. As Carpenter looks over to Rissmiller. Rissmiller's free. She's going to pop one from 3. And it almost goes in, but Livingston's there to try to get the rebound in and out of her hands. Here comes Wise back the other way for Wapahani. She's going to take it all the way in. Looks like she got away with a step, but it goes off the mark. Gets her own rebound. She's going to pop it again from the left side. A little too much, and then Claywell with yet another rebound back the other way. Here come the Indians. Claywell's going to stop, drop, and pop, and no good. Nice pass into Carpenter once again from Claywell. Boy, that's worked 3 times beautifully this game. Claywell to Carpenter. So I guess the shoe's on the other foot in there. Usually it's Carpenter to Claywell. Unselfish ball by the Lady Indians tonight, definitely. 49-48 your score. The Indians up by 1 as Wise looks inside. Thrasher back to number 32. Is that right? Let me see if I got that number right. Let's check that. Number 12, Layla Lee. Baker now. Back to Lee. Looking inside. Looking inside to Willis, but nice defense by Livingston. We're going back the other way. Here's Lutz now on the deal. She takes it herself, and it goes up and in. Another 2-point bucket for the junior, and we're going back the other way. It's 51-48 at the 2:53 mark of the third quarter. So the Indians just cannot put this away, but they're starting to build a lead here as they're up by 3. Wise around Carpenter. Carpenter wisely backs off a little bit, doesn't get that foul call. Here's a 3 attempt by Layla Lee, no good. Claywell grabs another carom. Here's Lutz now driving inside, right around Livingston. Another 2-point bucket by Lutz. 53-48 now, 2:24 left to go in this third quarter. Lady Indians playing fantastic as a team in this opening quarter of the second half. Wise dribbling down inside. Claywell got a little body on her, no call. Last touch by Wise herself, and it'll go the other way as Katie Elliott comes in for the Lady Indians. So that'll be the first sub for Coach Black of the second half. And Emily Livingston will come to the bench with a breather, as Wise and Willis also come to the bench for Coach Hudson. Being replaced by number 22, Lauren Luce, and number 23, Malia York. As Lutz goes on the deal and dribbles in again, and it goes in from the left side. Skyley having a great second half this third quarter as well. 55-48 as Union City extends its lead to 7. Here's Baker from downtown. In and out, no good. Hits the back plate of the rim. Lutz struggles to get it. And here come the Lady Indians up to Claywell. Claywell dribbles inside. Nice bounce pass, not a bounce pass, but a pass inside to Elliott. Little too much. Oh, York gets away with a push on Elliott. Clears her out backwards with her left arm, no call. York's dribbling the ball out. Thrasher, guarded by Claywell. Here's York now. Nice inside pass to number 22, Loose, but no good. Gets her on rebound, no good. Again, here comes Elliott and Claywell now with the Indians with the ball. Up to Carpenter. Carpenter dribbles aside, bounce pass to Claywell. Claywell pops, goes over to Rissmiller. I don't know why Claywell didn't take that shot. Carly was open too, but Maria had a clear shot. And a nice fight for the ball as Lutz tries to handle it, but number 3 gets in there, Kennedy Thrasher, and they're going to call a jump ball. It's going to go the other way as Sanders is going to check in for Coach Black. And Mariah Claywell. Much times I say that name and I get it wrong. Mariah Claywell comes to the bench for a breather. As we're under 40 seconds here in this third quarter, Union City with a 55-48 lead. Over to Sanders now. Sanders spins over to Carpenter. Carpenter back to Rissmiller. Carpenter, the senior, she's going to take one from the left side perimeter. No good. Nice rebound by York, and she's fouled. I think Carly might have got her on the arm. Sue's going to pick that up for the Indians, and it is on number 20. They're going to call that on Catherine Elliott. That's her first foul. As Livingston checks back in for Katie. So Wapahani's got 26 seconds in this third quarter to see if they can narrow that 7-point gap. Can't imagine they wouldn't go for the last shot unless it's something that easy. And, well, there's Baker with a 3. No good. Rissmiller turns around, thought she was going to get the rebound, but Sanders ends up with it. Here comes Lutz, 11 seconds. She's going to take it all the way on the deal. Up and in, good shot by Lutz. I tell you what, she's off balance on some of these shots, but she's maintaining enough composure to get them up and in. And shot at the end by number 22, Loose, no good. And at the end of 3, the Union City Lady Indians are up by 9 points, 57-48. So great quarter for the Indians there on that one. As you saw, Lutz and Claywell have a good third quarter. So you're still not a guy, can't be comfortable if you're Coach Black, because we've seen the perimeter shooting here of these Wapahani Raiders and Coach Hudson's troops. And they can definitely get back into this ball game. I don't know who you depend on there, because Baker's been hitting some threes, and we haven't heard a lot from Cameron Wise on the offensive side. Of course, she's amongst one of the scoring leaders for Wapahani. You got Baker at 12.5, Thrasher at 4.7 a game. Lee, we've mentioned, 7.7 a game. Wise at 11.2, as we mentioned. I don't think she's near that on her point total. I don't have the score stats of this particular game, what she's what she's sitting on, but the sophomores, I don't think near 11.2, so that's something you got to look at. And Willis, the senior, at 6.5 a game. The team themselves are averaging 47.4, so they're just at their average. Union City's averaging 61.5 a game, so they're a few off of there. So both teams are going to get their averages as far as scoring. We'll just see who ends up when the final buzzer hits. And right now, it's all Indians that third quarter. Taking the court now, we have Sanders, Livingston, Claywell, Lutz, and Rissmiller for Coach Black. And for Coach Hudson, we have Willis, Wise, and we got Thrasher, number 12, Lee, and number 2, Baker. So we got all the starters in for Wapahani here to start this fourth quarter. As Wise dribbles now. It's a nice pass into number 33, Willis. Boy, right away. Caught the Indians sleeping on that. So a 7-point lead as Lutz brings it past the 10-second line. And she'll set up the Indians offense. You got Livingston and Claywell down low. Lutz is going to take it herself with the left hand, and she's hit on the arm. And I think they're going to give that to number 12, Layla Lee. And Skyler will go to the, that's who indeed they're calling on. And Skyler will go to the line shooting 2. And this is where the Indians can really close it out if they keep driving. Lutz has been penetrating this second half. If they can pick up fouls on Wapahani, sending Lutz to the line, we'll take this all day. But Skyler misses her first one. And Lutz sinks her second one, giving him an 8-point lead. Lutz is shooting 74%, so you definitely want her on the line. I think she's the best Indian free throw shooter, but she misses her first one as Wapahani. And tell you what, mental error there as number 12 was looking to pass the ball. Layla Lee took the pass, but kind of like a wide receiver in football, looking to see where they're going to go before they secure the ball, and that's what happened there with young Lee. As she was looking to pass it before she had control of the ball, and Lutz is bringing it past the timeline now. That's a turnover by Wapahani, and that's what you can't have in this fourth quarter if you want to get back in this game. Finding yourself down by 8 to this Indian team as Claywell sinks another field goal. That's a 10-point deficit now, and I think the Indians are feeling it. Here's Baker. Lee now driving down on Sanders. Sanders pushing her with the arm, and they're going to get her with a foul. Andrea had her arm on Layla Lee's back. And they're going to count that bucket. And Lee's going to try to go for a 3-point conversion there on the Sanders foul as Carpenter checks in for the junior. And Andrea comes to the bench. Clear foul, though. Andrea gave her a good push on the back. As Lee puts up her second one, her first shot, no good. And Rissmiller chases the ball down, but Wise is right there. Now they finally got it in Lutz's hands, and here come the Lady Indians as Wapahani peels off. Nice inside pass from Lutz to Claywell, out to Rissmiller. She's going to step one on the line, no good. Not enough on it. And Livingston's going to get a foul on pushing Lee. And let's see if that's M's first. And again, you got the 6'2 center down there. I think you want to play a little bit more aggressive. Union City's got some fouls to give. Wapahani, conversely, only on their first team foul this half. So they definitely got some fouling to do. If it gets down towards the wire, they're going to have to start fouling. Union City won't be at the line for a while. And Lee's going to take one from the top of the key. No good. Skylie Lutz skies for the rebound. And here come the Lady Indians. Skylie's going to take it all herself, all in, and she's fouled. And they're going to call a block on Layla Lee. Could have went either way, but Skylie's been trying to extort her body around to get around these defenders. And it looks like Lee was stood there, but got her, I think, because of the move of Lutz trying to get around, caught the right side of Lee's body, and she picks up a foul. But that's more important at the 6:22 mark. That's Lee's fourth foul. As quickly, Coach Hudson goes to the bench looking to check Malia York in. And Layla Lee will come to the bench with those 4 fouls. So we'll see how long she's going to sit on the bench with those 4 before she can get back into this game as Skylie Lutz puts the Indians up again by 9. And 10-point deficit once again, 62-52. 6:22 left to go in this fourth quarter. As Thrasher brings it past timeline to Wise now. Picked up by Claywell. Wise drives around Claywell and around Livingston, up in an easy bucket. Went in between Livingston and Rissmiller and around Claywell. Again, something that's got to frustrate Coach Black, giving something to him that easy. Lutz, well, she's doing everything now. Claywell out to Rissmiller. Boy, Wise got her hand on it. Coach Hudson yelling at his troops to get out. He's racing against the clock now because the Indians look like they're just trying to play a little keep away. As Carpenter's crisp pass is picked off by number 2, Reese Baker. Carpenter had the right idea, and then she picks up a foul on Baker going to the hoop. So that's another frustration foul by the senior Carpenter. And Reese will go to the line. Reese Baker will shoot 2. That's the second one on the senior Carpenter. Yeah, she had the right intention down here on the offensive end, but her pass just was a little too slow, and they got their hands on it. We've talked about how quick those Wapahani hands have been. And all season, Union City's just what I call a little lackadaisical or lazy on the passes, as Baker's second shot's no good. And here comes Lutz the other way, 62-55. She's going to take it on her own again. Between 2 defenders, she goes up in, they're going to count it. And Lutz is going to the line, shooting to convert a 3-point play. And they're going to give that one to number 33, Jalen Willis. So the senior picks up her second foul. As Lutz is going to go a line to the again. We mentioned Lutz shooting 74% from the line. And the first one's in and out, no good. We're back the other way. Claywell trying to give a little trouble to the ball past the timeline, but Wapahani gets a pass as Wise is dribbling around now, guarded by Claywell. Claywell, nice defense up. Great feed in from Wise to number 33, Willis. Excellent play there by the Raiders. 64-57. They're not giving up. They're trying to claw their way back into this game. And Union City's got to make sure that they don't let this get away. Great, beautiful pass from Carpenter to Lutz. And Lutz tries to rip it out, and she does. No jump call. Claywell's asking for the ball clear across the other side, but no look pass to Livingston. Livingston takes one dribble, and they call the junior for a travel. They collapse down on Emily. Claywell was wide open there on the left side baseline, but they just couldn't see her. It had been a cross-court pass, but just too many Wapahani players in the face of the Union City Indians on this side that they couldn't get that pass to the junior Claywell for the shot. As Wise pushes Claywell, and they call her for a charge. Wise cleared out Mariah with her left arm, and they're going to get her for it. And we're going back the other way, so that's a costly penalty by Coach. If you're Coach Welch, 4:48, you got to get back in this game. You got to stop making errors like that, and he wants clarification from the ref, but that was a clear push by Wise to clear out Mariah. But only the first one on Wise, so that's a good thing. Rissmiller come with ball, and they're starting to play a little bit more aggressive now. Union City with their passes, I think. Thrasher got away with a foul on Carpenter. There was no call. Here comes Willis. Union City's back in time. Wise going to take a shot. What a great block by Claywell. She got a hand on it. And it'll reset to Wapahani again, but Mariah disrupted that shot, and it wasn't going to go in. So Wise better think twice, because Maria jumped like a kangaroo out there to get it. I think that surprised even Wise at how the vertical that Mariah had on that shot. Here's Baker now. Baker's going to go to the free throw line, take a shot, and she's going to nail it. So 64-59, got a 5-point lead, was once 10. That's what Union City does, is they can let them back in. And they just need to continue to play their game as Lutz dribbles it back out. Nice bounce pass into Lutz. She's going to go up with it, no call. Here comes Wapahani the other way. It's in Wise's hands now. She's going to dribble all the way in. Carpenter's going to get her for a foul, but luckily it didn't go in. So that'll be the third foul on the senior as Wise will go to the line shooting 2. Got her with the block. And that's okay. Got a big smile on the senior's face. That's a smart foul, Jody. As Wise the line, she'll shoot 2. And that one's, when it bounces out. A little too hard on the rim there. Maybe she can soften her touch and convert this second one to bring it within a 4-point game. That one, too, is awful off the back plate. Little extended from Claywell's arms. Wise ends back up with it, so they're going to reset. It's going to be Wapahani's ball again. Here's Thrasher. Over to Baker now, and Baker gets called for steps. And we're going to go back the other way. So costly turnover there at the 3:48 mark, and Coach Black decides to want the timeout. Make sure everybody's got not a full or a 30 here. They're going to call it a 30, but Coach Black, 30-48 in the game, 64-59. You got a 5-point lead. Was once a 10-point lead. So Union City, again, habitually throughout the season has let teams back into it when they've had a marginal 2-point or a 10-point or better lead. So Union City knows they got to play well, and if they want to hang on to this ball game, because Wapahani's giving them all they got, trying to come back. But one thing we've been impressed with the play of Claywell and Carpenter, the little transitions, both of them back got some easy buckets in this game so far in the play of Skylar Lutz. We can say she's taking it all upon herself and driving inside and penetrating, drawing fouls and trying to get to the line, but Skylar's got to get those free throws hit because every one of those are important now when you got 5-point deficit here with 3:45 left to go. Wise picks up the ball handler. Here's Carpenter now. Back to Claywell. Ooh, lucky break there for the Indians. Last touch by Raiders. Yeah, some of these passes get a little too fancy by these ladies, and they just outstretched, go out of bounds, or they get stolen off by the defenders. Lutz dribbling. She's working all. She's going to penetrate now. She's going to go up, and she's fouled going to the bucket. That'll be a non-shooting foul. That'll be the 5th team foul. So that'll be taken out into the bucket. They're going to call it on number 2, Reese Baker. That'll be 3 for her as the sophomore picks up her third at the 3:32 mark. But that's okay. It's a non-shooting foul. They still got 2 fouls to give. As Lutz is wide open for a 3. No good, though. She gets her own rebound. Back out to Claywell. Claywell clear over to Carpenter. And Carpenter's going to set back the offense to Lutz here. And we're going to try again. More importantly, that clock continues to run as Skyly's going to pop one now. She's going to stop, drop, and pop. No good. Wise with a great board. Needs to look up top. She has Baker, but didn't see her. As Wise is going to be defended by Carpenter. Carpenter with those 3 fouls, but I think that's a moot point by now because I think they're just playing no matter what. You just got to watch Lee with those 4 fouls, but she's not in the game right now. As Coach Hudson wants a foul, or excuse me, wants a timeout. And let's see if he just, nope, he chooses to keep Layla Lee on the bench with those 4 fouls with 3 minutes left to go plus. So here's the point, ladies and gentlemen, where the coaches start their chess match. Situational plays, what we're going to do on the offensive side. If they score a bucket, what are we going to do if we score a bucket? Defensive end, are we going to press on the ball? All these are going to go into those conversations right now at the last few minutes of the game here with this close, a 5-point lead by Union City, and we've seen that this season. No lead is comfortable when you're these Indians. So let's see who Coach Hudson chooses to put the ball in whose hands, because he's got to get 5 points and then some. They got to do some defensive stop down on the other end, and I don't think that they're really stopping the Indians as much. They are picking off some passes and getting their hands in there, but I think the Indians are beating themselves again, shooting themselves in the foot when they're making some mental errors and stuff. And some of these passes, we talked about how soft they are. There's no ball fakes going on. There's no head fakes to get a defender off their feet or off bounce to make sure you got a good, clean pass in, whether it's directly or a bounce pass. And that's something that I haven't seen all season by the Indians being able to work on that and do that, because if they start doing that, then you're freeing up the big Livingston easily down inside. You got Claywell bringing the defenders up. Anybody goes baseline when they bring the defenders up, and that's an easy bounce pass in. But you got to start putting some ball fakes in and set some good, clean screens. 64-59 is your score as Wapahani's going to take the ball in after this timeout. We're 2:57 in the game. Goes into the backcourt. Here comes Thrasher. Picked up by Lutz. Lutz having a fantastic game. Claywell. Boy, she got her ears pinned back. She got a ball, knocked the ball out, but Wise recovered. It's just a matter of seconds before Claywell's going to get a theft. Here's one from the left side by Willis. 3, and she drains it. Boy, that's costly if you're the Union City Indians. Now that it's within 2 at the 2:25 mark. You got to watch your mistakes every time down the court. It's a very important possession for both teams. Defensive and offensively, as Skyly Lutz picks up a foul on number 3, Kendall Thrasher. And let's see how many that is on her. That's the second on the sophomore at the 2:20 mark. So both teams at 6 fouls. So the next foul on either team is going to be a 1 in the bonus situation from here on out. And that could decide it here. We got a 2-point game. There's once 10 points by the Indians. They've dwindled it to 2. As Lutz tries to go all the way in, I think she lost off bounce and didn't get enough in, went underneath the rim as Wise. Oh, I was getting ready to say she got away with the travel, but we got the whistle. So big break there for the Indians on the turnover and turned right back over by Wapahani. 64-62. We've mentioned, we've teased it all season. I've yet to call an overtime game for the Indians. And just like that, a bad turnover by the Indians as Lutz tries to get it to Carpenter, and it's through her outstretched hands as Carpenter jumps for it, and still too much. And here at the 2:08 mark, Layla Lee checks in with those 4 fouls, replaced Malia York. The one thing I feel you recognize what player's got 4 fouls, and I try to work on that player. See if they can get number 5. As number 2, Baker takes one from the left side. No good. Good position by Rismo, and I think Baker pushed her a little bit. it's going to go the other way, and there's what we talked about, the 17th foul. So Carly's going to go to the line shooting one in the bonus. So very fortunate that Baker pushed Carly in the back, and that's her 4th foul. So that could be key if this does go to overtime. And this game might be won right here at the charity stripe by the Indians. They got to convert these. And Rissmiller's first one bounce around, and it goes in. What a break by the Indians. But that goes in. Every one of these shots are very important now. Carly's second shot bounces off, no good. Wise with the rebound. Here come the Raiders. Wise takes it all her own, all the way. And just like that, an easy layup. Boy, that's got to frustrate you. Now it's a one-point game. That was such an easy layup that nobody stepped in front of it to draw that charge or try to contest it. Got to be very frustrating for a coach. As Lutz now, she's going to dribble around the court, being chased around, and there's a reach in by Wise. No call. 133 as she's going to take it all the way into herself. No good. Willis ends up with the ball, and a chance for Wapahani to take a lead with a bucket here. 1:23 to go. Wise now, guarded by Claywell. Baker over to Lee. We mentioned with those 4 fouls. Baker also with 4 fouls. Here's Wise, back to Lee. Lee coming off a cold bench, so I don't know if she's going to be shooting it or not. Willis turns around, takes a fake of a shot, and they're going to call it. Coach Hudson's going to have a timeout now. 1:05 mark. Find themselves down by 1, 65-64. What a shame if the Indians would lose this game, being up by as many as 10. But hats off to Coach Hudson. Seems these Raiders have really fought back into this game to make it a very good game here at the closing minute and a half. Only down by 1. So I don't know if you're going to drop a play. What we've seen here so far in 3 quarters and the rest of this 4th quarter is they have some pretty good perimeter shooters. It could be Baker, could be Wise. I think Baker's been the one, and you got to watch Lee as well. Over on the other side, Union City, just got to keep your head in the game. I mean, they're just making some mistakes. They're just, they're throwing arky-type passes that are looping up there. They're having the defenders getting enough time to at least, jump and make an effort to get them or run after them or something like that. And Lutz is doing everything she can to keep the Indians in this game. She's getting good drives to the buckets, but she's finding herself off balance, and she's not getting the calls. And there is contact being made down there, but the rest looks like they're letting them play here in this last minute and a half. Because kind of looked like she got hammered pretty hard down there, but there was no call. So you got to expect that, but still, Lutz got to let her take the ball, and she's been your bread and butter of this game. We talked about the triple threat of Lutz, Livingston, and Claywell. That's who you expect to maybe propel the Indians into a victory. We mentioned the last game we broadcast, Emily Livingston won the game with no time left on the clock after a foul, so we may be in that situation again as Carpenter's getting in trouble. And she's fouled by number 3, Kendall Thrasher. And how many is that on the young sophomore for her? That'll be 3 for Thrasher, and that'll send Carpenter to the line. Again, these are big buckets. Union City's about hitting, 50% from the line, it seems, tonight. Carpenter, a 53% free throw shooter. And she doesn't sink her first one, but Claywell's right there for the rebound. Back out to Rissmiller. Under a minute now. Union City with a 1-point lead. I think you got to have the ball in her hand, Skyly Lutz. Let her dribble around. Make them foul her. I think Hudson's trying to get a foul and to get a stealer. Who's going to scrum on the floor? Carpenter ends up with it. It's 2-on-3. Back to Livingston. Livingston takes a shot. Clear out to Claywell. Claywell backs it out wisely. 39 seconds left to go. Out to Rissmiller. Over to Carpenter. They're playing keep away. You got to get it in Lutz's hand. She's the best free throw shooter. Give it to Lutz. Rissmiller now. Lutz calling for it. And they're going to call a foul on Wise. 28.4 left to go. So smart foul by Wise, the sophomore. Rissmiller's going to go to the line. These are key free throws. If she hits these, it's a 3-point game with 28.4 left, and that put the Indians in a much better situation going down the other end. And she nails the first one. What a great shot by Rissmiller. 19 fouls on Wapahani, so the next one will be a 2-shot situation, but we're at 28 seconds. And let's see if Carly can hit this third one to give the Indians a 3-point lead. No good. 2-point game. Here comes Wapahani. Lee up to Thrasher now. 20 seconds. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This will be it. What's Wapahani going to do? Who's going to take the shot? Is it going to be a 3? Is it going to be a 2? What a heartbreaker to hit. Oh, they're feeding it inside. They're trying to get inside to Willis. And the ball's on the line. It's going to go to the Indians with 9.6 seconds left. They're going to have to foul the ball right away as Coach Hudson's telling the kids to press. And I think Coach Black's going to have a wise timeout to make sure everybody knows what this inbounds play here with a 2-point lead and 9.6 seconds left. And tell you what, they've been trying to lob it into Livingston, which can work. But if you're Hudson, I don't know who you foul. The weakest free throw shooter in the game is probably going to be Livingston at 51%, or Carpenter at 53%. You don't want Lutz on the line if you're Wapahani, and Claywell's right behind her at 67%. So that's what you're looking at as far as who you're going to put on the line if you're Wapahani. But the way Union City's been shooting, they've been hitting 2 chances and they've been hitting 1, so it's been about 50%. So that could be a factor into the game. But I think what's important now for Coach Hudson is make sure you got somebody on this inbound pass to see if they can get a quick steal up and in and tie this game. Union City, they need to get it clear down court, get fouled, and let's see if Coach Hudson has somebody foul immediately when the ball's in, or give them a little bit of time and see if the Indians can get it out of somebody's hands, get it past the half court, and get that clock to wind down and get out of here with a 2-point victory. So here we go. We'll see. As they both take the court, Wapahani, Coach Hudson, troops. And who's going to take the ball out? Looks like Carly Ritzmer is going to take the ball out for the Lady Indians. And Coach Hudson looks like he's going to have Reese Baker. Nope, we're going to have Wise on the ball. 5'10". Carly, the shortest player on the court. Into Lutz. That's who you want. And they foul her immediately. 8.2 left to go. They're going to send Skyly the junior, 74% free throw shooter, to the line, shooting 2 now. So this isn't one-on-one, so that's a key factor for the Indians there. Any foul, it's going to be a 2-shot foul. So you can rest on that first one. Boy, Skyly, if she hits both of these, they could put this ball game away if she can extend this lead to 4. All the Indians have to do is just get a good defend, don't foul, and Skyly nails the first one. What a great shot by the junior as Claywell gets advice or gets a direction from Coach Black. Big shot here for Lutz. This could be the game winner. And she nails it. 4-point lead. 7.5 to go. They're going to have to take a 3 and hope they get fouled. Lee going to take a shot. Got to back off over. Here's a deep 3 by Baker, number 2. Claywell with the board, and that's a ball game. So 2 key free throws by Skyly Lutz ensures a victory for Union City as they send the Wapahani Raiders home by a score of 68-64. So good victory for the Lady Indians. And Jody Carpenter nears that record by Justice Cantu, the assist record season, even more now. I think I think the young lady might need about 18 on the season to break that record. So, want to thank everybody for tuning in. Want to thank Phil Williams doing remote stuff from Lynn, Indiana. Want to thank Gloria Cardona, Maddie Abel, Christian Cardona, and Camille Helmick, our KISS staff tonight. I'm Brian Merrill. Want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we got a big set of games next week. We got Centerville next week with the girls, and we got that big Friday game, a triple header. We have the Union City Lady Indians in a JV game in varsity against Hagerstown, a Tri-Eastern Conference match. It will also be senior night for the ladies, and right behind that, the third game will be the Indian boys against the Hagerstown Tigers. So everybody have a great evening. Have a great rest of the weekend. Be safe, and we'll see you next week.